Hi everyone, this is Mansa from Computer Science branch, studying 3rd BTech from Mission Institute of Technology. Today I will be explaining some key JavaScript concepts like closures, callbacks, promises, async and wait. I also implemented a to-do list using these closures. First of all, closures. Closure. Closures in JavaScript occur when a function has access to variables from its outer scope, even after the outer function has finished its executing. Closures allow the function to remember the environment in which it was created. For example, here is an example for a closure. Uh, Create counter is the outer function. This is the outer function. Inside it, we have a count variable and it is initialized to 0. The inner function, which we return, here we returned it, has an access to the count because of the closure. As we are using the closure function, it has the access to the count variable. When we call the counter, the inner function can still remember and modify the count variable. Because of the closure only, it is still remembering and it can be executed. This is all about the closure. Let's try to run this. Yes, here see, we call that function 3 times. So it is incrementing every time and returning the output as count 1, count 2, count 3, because as it is using the closure, it is remembering the outer functions. Coming to the callbacks, promises and async. Callback. Callback is generally a function that is passed as an argument to the another function. Callback function is nothing but a function acts as an argument for another function. It runs after an asynchronous operation. For example, let's take an example here. Fetch data is a function and it has another callback function. Uh, Whereas, let's see here we set it the timeout. Uh, when we call that function, when we call the callback function, it displays the date. In this code, fetch data. Fetch data stimulates the fetching data with a 2-second delay using set time. Because here we use 2000 milliseconds. That means it is a 2 seconds. It gives the output by 2 seconds delay time. Display data is the callback function. This is the callback function that passed as an argument and that runs once the data is fetched. For example, let's check this. Sorry. Yes, here it displayed the data after 2 seconds and we gave the output as data fetched, and later it given the output of the callback function displaying the data. And in this way the callback functions are called. These are used when we are writing the functions where when we are going to access any events or event listeners, then we can use these callback functions. It is really helpful. Coming to the promises. Promises are used to handle the asynchronous operations more effectively. A promise can be of 3 states. It can be a pending state, or it can be in resolved state, or it can be in rejected state. For example, we'll understand it by an example. Here we return fetch data and it is the function. And later it actually this is the function that returns the promise. Here we have two functions called callback functions like return and resolve and reject. Here also we set it the timeout as 2000. That means 2 seconds. If the operation is successful, we call the resolve function and then block the runs. If the operation fails, we call the reject function and the catch block handles the error. Here we have the catch block and it will handle the error. Let's observe the working of this. Yes, here it worked successfully. So the function called resolve. Resolve, in this result, it came as data fetched successfully, because if there is no any error is occurred. Coming to the async functions and wait functions, async function simplifies working with the promises and makes the code look more synchronous. It uses for the synchronizing the code. Here is an example of async wait. For example, here is the data. Fetch data is a function. In this, await pushes the function execution until the promises resolves. This makes asynchronous code to more readable and more understanding. Here, see, it checks the result and data can be fetched here, and it makes the code to be more recordable, more useful. Now, coming to the next. To-do list. Based on all these functions, we are going to execute the to-do list app. Actually, first of all, we learned about closures. Later, closure is nothing but remembering the before environment. Callbacks, callback functions is nothing but the giving function as an argument to the other functions. Async functions helps in the promises to look more readable and understandable. Now index.js, and this is the one where we created to-do list. Here it consists of three names: overdue and due today and due later. That means already completed one, and the things that need to be completed today, and the things that have the uh, uh, still have some time to be completed. For example, here we gave it as an asynchronous function using the arrow functions and pushed the item that is to be done. Here overdue, that means in that overdue we need to visualize the date that has been completed. That means it was completed on that particular date. This is the words that comes under overdue has a date beside it, and due today. That means the things that need to be completed today doesn't due later. Due later means it still has time, and that can be completed tomorrow or day after tomorrow. Like we'll check this using the function. In this function, we'll have an callback functions, async function, and we'll check each and every condition that if the today to-do list is to be completed, the to-do activity that is given is to be completed today or not. If it is today, then we'll place it in due today. We are returning thing. We are not in controlling anything. So we will place it in due today. If the today of the to-do activity is not today, then we'll place it in the overdue or due later respectively. For example, let's have an example. Here, see, this is the overdue one. That means that has already completed. I finished the project report. Now today, I need to attend a team meeting. That means this is today. So there is no need of visualizing the date here. So it not showed. Due later. That means in future things, the things that need to be completed in future. Prepare for presentation. And I have a doctor's appointment. That means in this way, we're using these async functions and using the callback functions and promises and closure. I invented this to-do list in such a way. Thank you.